promised transparency in my prop firm journey, so here's the raw truth. In this video, I'll be breaking down my trades, the trades that I took the past few weeks. I'll be breaking down my account performances, and I'll also be breaking down the challenges I faced and what I learned this week. So that's enough of the yapping, and let's get to this video. Okay, so this is my 25k prop firm account challenge. As you can see, I started September 8th, 2025. So far, I'm up 4% in the account. I made 1,000, 2% the first week and 2% the second week. So for those who don't know me, my name is Kelly, and I started a prop firm journey to prove my profitability. If you watched my previous video, or if you didn't, I've been trading with Photon strategy for about 3 years, and I basically mastered his strategy, and I'm making these videos for you guys to be inspired to keep going, to not give up in his strategy, or learn from what I implemented in his strategy to make it work for me. And so the only way I can show you guys my proof of profitability is going in this journey of passing prop firm account challenges. I started with 25k account because it would help inspire people who mainly focus on lower accounts at the very moment. Now, so far, I'm up 4% in the account. I took about 7 trades these past few weeks. Past 2 weeks, you might be surprised thinking only 7 trades, because some of you guys might be taking trades every day. I don't be getting trades every day, and yet I'm still profitable. Some of you guys might be thinking 4% in 2 weeks is kind of bad. But what I would say about making 4% in 2 weeks is it's actually amazing results, because most professional traders make around 100% in a year, and that's not 1% per day, and not even 100% in a year, maybe 80% or maybe 50%. That's not even 1% per day. Some traders believe they have to make 1% per day to be profitable, but if you keep in that mindset every day, then you will keep failing and starting in a cycle of looking for strategies over and over again, looking for that perfect strategy to give you 1% per day. But that's not how trading works. If that were the case, there would have been a lot of trillionaire traders. But that's enough of the yapping. Let me start breaking down the trades that I took this week. On Monday, my first trade of the challenge, USD CAD, was a long position. You're wondering why I took this trade. Was I did use top-down analysis. I used the higher time frame charts, but at this current moment, I don't want to make this video longer than it needs to be. I will be doing my analysis of my strategies on other videos, or if you guys are interested, me breaking down one of these pairs, your USD AUD, USD USD CAD, on the next video, please put it down in the comment section, and I'll just break down those pairs for you guys. So USD CAD, the trend was a bullish trend. We're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. We broke this previous high. We had this high right here, and this is a protected low. And when we're in a zone where there's a protected low, we have a higher chance of winning, because this whole zone is basically buyer's territory, because we're in uptrend. So this whole zone is basically buyer's territory. So where some of you guys get mistaken when it comes to smart money is you guys would look for supply and demand zones above the 50% fib level. I use the fib to help me pick my supply and demand zones. I only enter my supply and demand zones when I'm either below the fib level or above the fib level, depending on if I'm buying or selling. So Monday, I took a long position on USD CAD. The reason why I took the trade was price was below this 50%. We was trending bullish. We're in buyer's territory. We're in this demand zone, and we had a change of character. Most of you guys know what changes of characters are, so I don't have to go too deep into it. We had this high, then a break of this low, then we shift to bullish. That's the change of character, and I entered the trade for a buy over here. Now with this trade, I took a loss. No biggie. Losses happen. This was actually a great trade. we're trading with the condition, direction. So I put this trade in my journal as a loss, which is okay. Losses happen. There's nothing wrong with losses. Now the second trade I took was with Euro USD. I decided to take this trade on a 4H supply zone. So we had this higher high on the 4H, and then we had the break of this area right here to make a new low, and we're pulling back to the 50%. We're already above the 50%. So I'm looking for sells. Price came into this 4H supply zone. We had all this inducement. Price was already reacting to the supply zone a little, which is a nice sign that the supply zone wants to hold. So I looked for a sell entry on Euro USD because we came into a supply zone within the 4H supply zone, and I entered a sell within this zone. Now I entered the sell right here. Now some of you guys might be asking, what is this number right here? This number is letting me know how much liquidity, how much inducement has been built behind my supply zone, which helps which helps me understand where all the inducement is. And I mainly enter trades when there's inducement behind my supply zones or demand zones. So yeah, I entered based on that too, and I took a sell on Euro USD. It was around 3 p.m. where I usually don't enter trades. There was a lot of volume, which is why I decided to enter this trade. There was a lot of volume entering in the market, so I entered the trade. And then around here, I decided to exit the trade. Reason being is because it's spread hours and I didn't want to get stopped out, so I closed with a little bit of profit. I looked to re-enter the trade after we broke the low of one of this candle. I re-entered the trade and I ended up losing, which is perfectly fine. It was a smaller loss because I did gain some profit, so I probably took a loss of $200. Now the next trade was I was trading against 4-hour structure, I believe, but that's okay. We had this condition right here. We had this structure high and then low, break of this previous high. We had this pullback into below the 50% retracement. I do this every day, the same thing, waiting for price to come below the 50% and entering off of demand zones below the 50%. And I have this liquidity, this inducement calculator showing me where inducement is most likely in the market. I looked for a change of character to happen because I was trading against 4-hour structure, so I preferred to have waited for a change of character. If I wasn't trading against 4-hour structure, I was gonna just enter the trade right here. Now we had this change of character. This right here is not news. It wasn't high impact news. It was news, but it wasn't high impact news. I only decide not to enter trades when there's high impact news. So yeah, I got tagged in the trade and price shot up to my take profit. I'm glad I only target 2R, because if I was targeting more or if I was being greedy, I was gonna get stopped out. But yeah, that was trade for Euro USD. And let me go to my trade for USD CAD. I think this is a trade for USD CAD. This is still week 1. In this trade you might be a little confused. Some of you guys are confused. You're seeing these small pullbacks. You don't know exactly where your structure is. This for me, if this was 2 years ago, this would have been a very big pain in the butt, because I wouldn't have known where exactly am I saying what my structure is. What I do to straighten up my structure for 15 minutes is I use the 4-hour chart, and any small pullback I see in the 4-hour is what I'm counting as my 15 minute pullback and 15-minute structure, and 15 minutes. So right here we had this pullback, so that would have been my 15-minute structure. But over here we have this slight pullback over here. You can't clearly see it, but we had this pullback right here. So that this low and this high area was my 15-minute 15-minute structure. So with that being said, I decided to enter a buy below the 50%. I do this every day. Look for price to come below or above the 50%. Look for supply and demand zones that are best to enter, and keep doing that same thing consistently every day. You're gonna be where you want to be. Liquidity being shown. I love this indicator. It really helps. Liquidity being shown. The zone right here. Let's see. Let's check on the 30 minutes. The zone right here. We had a sweep of previous. Had a sweep. This demand zone was a great demand zone because we had a sweep of previous low. These zones usually work very nicely because it's showing that banks were actually in this zone, in this area, and it swept a lot of money. There was a lot of money in this zone basically. So yeah, I decided to enter this trade over here. This was not high impact news, so I still entered the trade. I think there was news previously, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think there was news at all. So I decided to enter the trade right here. Boom. I entered right here. I like the volume that was pushing into this zone too. I took this buy and I exited right here. 2R. That was it. That was all I needed. I did not need to be greedy. It could have pushed further up, but that was all I needed, which is why I love targeting a 1 to 2 now. It went for further than that, but that don't really matter. And now for week 2. Week 2, I only had one trade. I only took one trade. Now you're looking at this condition like it's very choppy. Why would you take a trade in this choppy condition? Now, a thing that you guys need to understand while trading SMC is condition-based trading, and what that is basically understanding how to trade with certain conditions of the market. Now, this condition is a range-bound condition. Yeah, obviously, I see the characteristics of the condition too. It's high volume range-bound condition, basically a barcode. But the logical thinking of this, simple thinking of this, is you take a buy at the low of a range and a sell at the top of the range. And this is exactly what my model showed me. So we had a break of this previous high with this candle. I wait for candle breaks. We had a break of this previous high, and guess where we're at? 50%. This demand zone, I entered in the 50% of it. Now, I always enter below the 50% or above it, as I already stated. So I was looking for a buy. It was kind of a risky trade because, again, it was ranging. It is ranging. But if you understand how to trade with conditions, you would know that taking a buy at the bottom of the range is not too bad. I thought I was going to get stopped out over here because of that, but I didn't really sweat it too much because, you got to take a trade. I took the buy, and yeah, that was the last trade of the week. Now that was the breakdowns of all my trades that I took, and mainly the challenges that I faced this week was just patience. It's surprising because I've been trading for 5 years and I'm still being impatient, looking for trades all the time. But I only took 7 trades, and all those trades were high probability setups. And patience would play a big factor in your trading journey, because there will be days that you feel excited to trade, and there will be days that you feel terrible and you want to crash out if you don't find any trades. But you got to be patient because those days don't last long. There's days that you feel great because those days don't last long. Just keep pushing, keep going, and yeah, you got this. So let me show you the profits for each trade. The first trade was the loss right here, 250. Second trade was Euro USD, exited early. Decided to re-enter. I didn't take a full loss because of that. Euro USD, took another trade. That was a win, small loss, and then win. So that was the trades for so far for my profit challenge, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be posting my trades for this week, around next week, or the week after, depending on how much videos I make the next week. So thank you for watching, and stay paid.